a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
The bits.
Welcome to The Bits, hosted by your favorite jam buds, Robert.
And Charlie. Ayo.
Hey, Charlie, man. I mean, hey, we're just you and me doing the same old thing on this same old world.
Yeah, we certainly are. Hey, is that the episode? Is that the episode we're covering today of Steven Universe? With a guest, perhaps?
Who I think not only takes back her first place spot, but also is like an episode ahead of Phoebe.
Wow, I can't believe I managed it already. Starting off the season strong.
Phoebe's been busy lately, so...
Well, that was Phoebe's first mistake.
At the time of recording this, it's the busy season for dramaturgs, which is what Phoebe's profession is. So, you know.
Wow, I can't believe Phoebe's not as dedicated to this podcast as I am, but But sometimes life just happens, and I hope things work out.
But voice that has been speaking for the past several seconds, who are you?
Who the heck are you? Why are you here on this episode?
Don't give me existential dread this early into the episode. Come on, guys.
I think we summoned her with Lapis.
Pretty much. Hello. Hi, I'm Kyela. I've been here before. She, her, hers are my pronouns. If that comes up. I like Steven Universe. I like Lapis. I also like leaves, and Lapis likes leaves in this episode. Minor spoilers, so it's a win-win.
Why didn't I say that? Why did I realize when there was a leaf? I should have just said leaf in all caps in our group chat.
My favorite character touches a leaf. It's a win.
You don't understand, Robert. This is one of the core pieces of Kyla's personality is leaves.
Leaves.
Look, I like nature. I originally went to school for environmental science before I switched to English degree, and I used to draw leaves a lot because nature is cool. And flowers are great and all, but leaves are great, and they need more appreciation.
I'm a huge fan of looking up through the leaves of a tree and seeing all the polygons that form through the light and stuff.
Yeah. Good shit. You just can't go wrong with leaves.
You really can't, which is why I can't believe that we're covering today's episode, Season 3, Episode 3, Same Old World, which came out May 19th, 2016.
Don't tell me how old I am. Please stop doing that.
This came out 9-ish years ago, right? 9-something years? It's time comes for us all. But before we continue, hey, Charlie, did the postman bring us any post?
This is our own fault. Honestly, this is our own fault for recording things in advance and spreading out the 9 emails that we got
over 2 episodes,
over our break.
Yeah.
We did it over 3 episodes. We did some during our Pride episode, and we did some during the last 2 episodes. So
you didn't save any posts, and I couldn't think of a good post to send. I'm sorry. I can't just send posts when I'm on the pod.
What if you just sent posts while you were on the pod?
At the end of the pod, you get a new post that I write while we're doing this, so the whole time I'm just super duper quiet until you see all my thoughts compiled into one post, so I don't actually have to speak at all during this.
That's how you do podcasting and audio, because that's really great for audio.
Yeah.
It's just many silences.
I would be outsourcing the labor. I would still type all the words, but then I'd make you guys say it, and then I'd just leave the call.
And then we just lose our minds.
We didn't have them to begin with, so.
But hey folks, just be sure to send this mail, thebitssupod@gmail.com, right?
thebitssupod@gmail.com.
God fucking damn.
You've never sent any posts, Robert. This is on you too.
Listen, first I was like, okay, well, the bits is taken. I can't, or I think even the bits pod was technically taken or something. So I had to make us the bits SU pod. And so everything is usually either the bits SU or the bits SU pod places.
Agony.
Usernames are hard.
For emails, I always try to make it pod in the email as a general thing. That's just how I do things. I'm very organized.
Agony.
You're something, all right. That something is wonderful.
Thank you. You want to talk about this episode?
Maybe I do.
It's we defeated the cluster. How great do we feel? We did it. Thank you, Kyla, for being there for it. Clearly,
It still feels kind of weird that they built it up all over season 2, and then season 3, it's just like, okay, it's sleeping. That's it. Danger over.
I know it's such a weird opener. The fact that we closed out last season on an episode that did not feel like a finale.
It felt like an epilogue. Like, you know, it wasn't like a bad ending. It just, the ending happened before that.
Yeah. I think I said that Message Received should have been the finale of the season, and I stand by that.
I don't think it would have been impossible to have the log date episode be, you know, take place before and just not have it be Peridot losing her mind over breaking the rules. It could have just been like another, you know.
I think that could have been a fine opener to this season, because I think that that
too.
That honestly encapsulates what's happening for like both of the gems, even in this episode. Like, that's kind of like the journey that we start to get, is that, okay, well, what do we do now? We have to stay here. We have to make this a place that we can live, you know?
Yeah. It's always interesting because it's like there's a lot to be said about having a strong action-packed start versus a strong action-packed end to a movie, a season of a show, etc. So it's like, would it have been better to start on the slow, you know, for lack of a better term, more slice of lifey stuff of just exploring life now versus, oh my gosh, we're gonna finally fight Malachite and the cluster and
I just don't think that works as a scene, as the season opener. I think that that should have been like either a finale or like a mid-season kind of deal.
Right.
That's fair.
But that's just my hot takes. But now we're past it. And they're wrapping it up for the other gems because they're all back at the barn. You know, everybody's back home. And Peridot's just telling the story.
Yeah, honestly, going off the idea that like the Malachite fight feels like a season finale, this episode kind of feels like a season opener. It starts off with, you know, they're talking about fighting the cluster, they mostly meaning Peridot, but continuing her growth, she pauses her retelling partway through to say, but Steven can tell you the rest because he, you know, did it. Like, old Peridot would have been like, and then this stuff happened, and I saved the day. And Steven was also there. It's now like, oh, but Steven did his part, and I'll let him talk about that, you know?
Also, a photon blaster. What a fucking nerd. The Steven Universe team is not only full of weebs, it's full of sci-fi nerds.
You're just now figuring that out?
We already knew this, Robert. That's literally what
they're
Steven
all
Universe
aliens.
is.
They are aliens. It's already sci-fi.
This is
Sci-fantasy,
sci-fi but
so.
magical girls, which is
Where's the time travel? Oh wait, that was
this
the
is where
pilot.
weebs are.
I was even like, where's
And
the time
it was
travel? The pilot.
Steven and the Stevens. So
Oh yeah, Steven and the Stevens. Where's more
you
time
remember
travel?
that canon episode that happened?
Don't
that
worry,
we just
Brona, this is canon.
don't acknowledge anymore?
He
So, yeah.
accidentally created an alternate timeline. I don't know what to tell you.
So yeah, Paradise on the story, but notice that Steven's like still worried about Lapis. He walks up to the bar and then Garnet follows. He's like, hey, your friend needs some rest. Holding that toxic relationship together really does a lot on someone.
She was working so hard to hold her down under the ocean.
So Steven walks away in the middle of this conversation because he's worried about our buddy Lapis Lazuli, who is just lying in the barn on some hay, passed out because of the trauma? The trauma.
The trauma, TM.
The physical exertion as well, like quite literally, like obviously the mental exhaust, but it's, you know, it's interesting because like very often with the gems, you know, you see them physically injured and then poofing, and we only on occasion see them like physically exhausted to the point of needing to rest. And this is one of those few times.
I would also encompass that within the trauma as like, you're in a relationship and the physical exertion.
Yes.
There you go. That's all that needed to be said. And Garnet's just like, hey, it's okay. She'll be okay. Don't you worry about it. He connected with her emotionally in the dream realm thing. We saw that episode, Chillatide. And Garnet's just like, yeah, I get it. Fusion can be a lot. And Malachite was more than a lot. So, but she'll be okay. Don't you worry. Everything's
Don't you worry about a thing.
Steven's whole thing is worrying and wanting things to be better, Garnet.
This is true.
You're telling somebody with anxiety to not worry, and it's not going to work well.
He hasn't been diagnosed yet. They don't know. They literally don't know that he has anxiety. He's never been to a doctor.
And definitely never been to a therapist yet. He's had no diagnoses at all.
I hope that once he gets a therapist, he also is forced to go to a regular medical doctor as well. Because, like, I feel like your therapist would be like, no, go get a physical. Boy, please go get a physical once in a while.
At that point, he is very much into trying to do the things that you're supposed to do, so he definitely, it is on his list of things to do. He just didn't get around to it because he was trying to hold everything together, repress everything. It was a lot.
Steven's here to help. Steven's here to help. Help Steven. Help Steven.
And then, speaking of Steven, we see our baby boy just in the middle of the grass in his little bug sleeping bag. I love his little bug sleeping bag. Literally snug as a bug on a rug, but the rug is grass.
Just sleeping in the middle of the woods all by himself.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
God forbid a fella just wants to sleep in his little caterpillar sleeping bag.
That is a child.
That is a baby boy.
I mean, I know he's 14, but, like, he is a child.
That is, in fact, the definition of a child.
Yes.
So,
exactly.
there you go. And then he wakes up and he goes to see Lapis because he hears things.
Just in time to see her saying, "Fuck this shit, I'm out," once again.
I want to know what are these noises she made.
Basically, every single time Steven has interacted with Lapis, they've hung out for a little bit and then she leaves. She's there for a minute, then she leaves.
You should have abandonment issues at this point from Lapis specifically.
How many times has Lapis left this point? Like 3, technically?
Believe so, yeah.
Be like, yeah, that's my friend Lapis. She just doesn't like me, actually. Because she's trying to run from me every time.
I mean, if you count Mirror Gem and Ocean Gem separately, that could count as leaving twice. You know, leaving Beach City, then leaving the Earth, and then leaving Beach City again as Malachite, and now leaving the Earth again. She has a pattern.
He's constantly chasing after her.
Please be my friend. No, you're
helping Steven. You know, the help Steven thing. Steven help Steven.
Right now, Steven is trying to help Lapis and check that she's okay, because she's trying to run away from things. Which, to be fair, she's in the barn alone. At that moment, she doesn't have any reason to believe that, like, either Steven is around or the gems are around, good, bad, or indifferent. So, like, she does stop leaving when she sees Steven. She's like, oh, hey, you, okay, I can stay for a minute to say goodbye to you, since you are here.
Why didn't they put him in the barn? Maybe?
I feel like Steven is the kind of guy who would want to fall asleep seeing the stars, you know? Appreciating the beauty of all that.
It's a mood.
If it's not like a freezing cold night.
He does have a star in his shirt.
He says, I feel like I only get to see you when something horrible's going on. And she's like, that's just how it is with me. Like, she's so casual about, like, how terrible everything is for her all the time. Like, the implication with how casual that line was, like, I don't think it was just, like, a witty retort to, like, yeah, that's just how I am, bro. I think she actually is just, like, constantly dealing with a lot of terrible things, because, like, she is a Lapis. They do terraforming. I'm sure tearing planets asunder can get a little intense sometimes. Anyway, Lapis is also not like other girls, and not like other gems, because she's leaving the Earth instead of staying to protect it, and gets to say goodbye to Steven.
Bye, Steven. And then Steven says goodbye. It's morning now. Greg's, packed up the van and everything. Peridot is chilling on a tractor. She's like, I'm gonna stay here. I like it. This is where I traumatize myself into staying here.
Also, I should probably fix that hole in the wall that I made.
Yeah.
Does she really? Technically?
I believe it technically no longer becomes a hole and just becomes a wall. So, you know, even if the wall has things with it, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that they stick the silo in the hole.
Yeah. So now there's just more wall. Therefore the hole is no longer a hole in the wall. It is now a doorway, an entryway.
I love how the gems are all sitting in the van, and I'm like, have I sort of been not paying attention? And I'm like, are the gems and Greg on like a good enough relationship where they'll just get in the car willingly?
Yeah.
Yes, Robert, we've been over this.
Have I just forgotten this?
That the gems have slowly been getting to that place with Greg.
Huh, I guess I just completely forgot.
What was the freaking episode? The Message? That was season 1. I feel like since then they've started taking him more and more seriously.
Yeah.
Actually. Like all of season 2, it's been getting better. And 2 of them especially treat him with respect. that he deserves. There's only one of them that still needs to work some shit out.
We'll get there eventually.
We certainly will.
And then Steven is like, I'll just, I'll go back home on Lion. Wait a minute, where is Lion? Leon!
Okay, but what is he carrying? Do you see what he's carrying?
He's carrying a steak, and that is great. It's here just for Lion. Oh no, he dropped it and it ceased to exist.
The hot dog duffel bag, Robert.
Oh, well,
he
that
has the hot dog duffel bag. Hey, do you know where he got that? He got that in one of the shorts from season 2, which we covered on our Patreon.
We did.
Wow.
Yeah, we covered all of them. We're pretty cool.
This boy loves his wacky sacks. He's got to collect them all. Wacky sacks. Anyway, while he is looking for Lion, he does find a different magical being that he wasn't looking for.
Who also has transport capabilities. If you go on her back.
By that logic, everyone does transport capabilities because you can piggyback on them.
Not everybody. I don't think you could honestly piggyback on Peridot. So
hard to say, because the gems are relatively strong, even if they're of smaller stature. Like Ruby, very strong, despite being very small, because made of light, so muscle mass is not quite exactly proportional. I think Peridot could maybe give someone a piggyback. I don't think she would. I don't think she'd want to, but I think she could.
I don't think she could. That's just me. I think that Peridot would not be able to carry somebody, and or we would never find out because she never would lower herself to that.
She never would.
But it's Lapis. She's on the silo.
Yep, and Steven climbs all the way up there.
How?
There is a ladder.
Okay, that's something I didn't realize.
Yes, there is a ladder, and also most silos are built to be able to be entered because it is meant to be used on a barn.
You need to go in and get the corn, and you also need to leave with the corn.
Nobody uses this farm, so I just assume that nothing here is usable.
Well, given how many parts they found and used to build a spaceship that one time, 2 massive robots, a drill, clearly there are functional parts here.
Well, I think we found out that some of that's from planes.
Yeah, but it's still in the barn. It's fine. Anyway, Steven climbs up there, and Lapis doesn't immediately fly away for once.
Yay! We get to chat with her. She's like, I can't go back home because I did some shit. Do you remember that shit that I did to Jasper? Yeah. You were there. You remember. So can't go there. And I can't stay here, obviously.
And Steven's like, that's not obvious at all. Of course you can stay here. Because, quite frankly, Lapis could have done even more terrible things, and he still would have been like, yeah, you can stay. Steven would let anyone stay, no matter how bad they are. He's like, Lapis, I need you to understand there's nothing you can do that is so bad that I would actually kick you out.
Sorry, if Spinel didn't happen in the movie, would he have actually let the diamonds move in?
Maybe. I feel like he might have felt obligated to let them move in, because it's like, well, I told them I wasn't going to move in with them, and then they'd have some wacky shenanigans about the diamonds adjusting and not adjusting to living on Earth before they all give up and split up again.
Lapis is, we're flying with Lapis. Main goal is to find somewhere Lapis can live. And so they first stop by a forest, and they're like, hey, Lapis, you can live in this forest and you'd be away from everyone. And if it gets too hot or raining, the leaves are on the trees. And we all know someone who loves the leaves.
Leaves are great.
And they're changing.
They're turning orange. It's to signify summer to fall.
How long ago was Steven's birthday? Let's see.
At this point, a few days ago, I think.
Well, it clearly must have been longer than that, right? Because when do the leaves usually change? His birthday's
around
in August.
September-ish is when they start to change.
Yeah.
So it's been a week or two.
It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah. Next, we fly out to Empire City, which I was like, hey, we come back in a couple episodes.
Empire City.
And then my favorite joke that everyone wanted to talk about was that Lapis points to the dark, shadowy place across from Empire City, and she's like, what's that? And Steven's like, oh, that's Jersey.
Yeah, Robert, that's where you live, right?
Yeah, that's where I live, but also where someone needs to defend where he's from.
Look.
Hi, Mac.
Jersey is not a dark, shadowy place. It's a wonderful place to live.
The main takeaway is that Lapis should have been taken to a Wawa.
Yes. There's so many on the fucking turnpike.
But that was an accurate depiction of the New Jersey Turnpike if you've ever seen it.
That is just the turnpike. It is
Just-
a parking lot.
Just a parking lot full of obnoxious fumes.
Yeah, listen, we do have smog. Most of it comes from New York, so
And that was my boyfriend in his little cameo. Thank you, Mac.
anytime. And also, get out of the sky, you fucking mooks.
I do like where Steven just so casually is like, "You'd like it here, Lapis. They seem to hate the Earth too." Like just
Oh.
Mac heard that line and he shook his head. He's like, yeah, we hate people.
yeah. Again, Lapis would be a perfect fit here, you know?
Amazing.
Except, you know, of course, at this point, she is starting to appreciate the Earth more. So actually, she wouldn't fit in Jersey anymore. So Lapis doesn't have to live in Jersey, and that's a good thing. I don't actually. I'm trying to be mean to Jersey. I'm just trying to piss off Robert.
Oh, I don't care. I am a New York boy through and through.
But you currently live in Jersey.
So
But
much
I currently
worse.
live in Jersey for my job.
That's so much worse.
My favorite thing is the Empire City part of the sequence where it's like, what is it? What happens in Empire City never sleeps because we're combining Vegas and New York, apparently.
Yes, we are.
Yep.
So, sure. And Stephen tries to explain how her life could be in the big city. And she's like, I don't know what that means. So.
I don't know what getting a roommate in an apartment and a coffee shop are.
No, none of those words.
Despite all the
make sense.
cafe AUs that I'm sure exist.
Oh, 100%. I've seen a bunch of them. That being said, is Steven referencing like Friends or something? Like, what is he referencing?
I think the basic experience that people expect.
He's referencing Steven's never been to Empire City. All he knows is from like TV and movies.
I don't know. We might find out in the cultural references, so we'll find out.
I'm sure there's some specific show or movie where it's specifically coffee shop based, but I don't know.
Yeah, who's to say? And then also just the direct Lion King line there about Jersey. That is great, though.
I love how it's Jersey and it's not New Jersey.
Well, yeah, everything in here is slightly different.
Look, Steven lives in Delmarva. That's not a real fucking place. It's Empire City. It's Jersey. It's Keystone, not Pennsylvania. Like it or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just Earth a little bit to the left.
And then Lapis and Stephen go flying for a bit. And they, she does some flippies. And this is dangerous because now he's just hanging by her hands and they have to hold hands.
It's kind of unclear how much Lapis understands that Steven is human. Because, like, she seems to get it a little bit, but also kind of not. You know, like in Ocean Gem, she tries to drown him and Connie. Okay. But then, like, in the return, she's like, Steven's not one of them. He's just a human. And then, of course, we see the shield. So it's like she clearly has pieced together that Gem kind of ? You know, like, Peridot had her whole thing of trying to figure out what Steven is. Lapis is just kind of like, I thought he was human. I thought maybe. And now I think he's Gem, maybe. I don't know. But I'm assuming she's working off of the Gem-based assumption of like, yeah, I can toss you around. You're not going to die. What's death?
Which is funny because they have a concept of fucking like shattering. They have a concept of death.
Yeah. But like falling to the ocean, I don't think would shatter most gems, you know?
Yeah, I don't even think that would necessarily break their physical form.
But they have to have a cute moment of just flying around, being buddies, you know, Lapis very, you know, in her own way is just like, I guess I can see why you like the Earth. And Steven smiles because he knows that's like a very sweet, genuine sentiment, and Lapis just speaks in more sarcastic, sassy way. Another reason why I love her. So he's like, wow, that's the nicest thing you've ever said about the Earth. They're having a good time flying around until they're not.
Because they're over the ocean, and not just any part of the ocean, the galaxy warp.
Which I guess is just off the shore of Jersey.
Canonically.
The next time I'm gonna go to like the beach town in Jersey and be like, somewhere off in the distance is the galaxy warp.
Robert, that's your next YouTube video. Go to all the places that are in Steven Universe, but you can't because they don't really exist.
Knocked off Jersey already. Let's go, boys.
I remember, like, when this episode dropped, because, like, you know, we've seen various world maps of Steven Universe, and then in later episodes we see more of them, where people were trying to piece together roughly where they thought the gem, like, landmarks are. Like, you know, like, where is the strawberry field? Where was the Sea Spire? Where is the galaxy warp? And, people were watching this episode like, I thought the galaxy warp would have been over here. So did Lapis just fly super fast, or is the galaxy warp closer? And, all the theories and whatnot. And I don't know how canon any of it is, but it's fun that people were talking about these little details in depth. Gotta love fandoms and communities like that.
Just because we mentioned the Sea Spire, shout out, pour one out for the fellas, the crystal shrimp.
Those little guys.
Crystal shrimps.
Look, at least they got to have bagel sandwiches before they drowned.
They exploded. That's what fucking happened in the Sea Spire. It exploded.
They could be very resilient. You don't know this. What do you truly know about crystal shrimp anatomy, Robert?
I know they're fucking dead.
We don't see their corpses.
I hope we don't. They just died.
I never want to see a corpse of a crystal shrimp.
Maybe more like an exoskeleton thing. I don't know.
They just died by seeing a giant flash in the sky. Someone needs to draw that, just the crystal shrimp vibing in their bagels, and then all of a sudden, nuke.
So sad. Okay, I do have an answer for us, though. I did look up. You can actually see it on the wiki for this episode. It tells you all the locations every time that are here, and it has Galaxy Warp under Tunguska Sea, under Siberia.
Yeah, I was gonna...
So...
Yeah, that was one of the big things. The people were like, I thought the galaxy warp was in, what was Siberia, based off of...
So we're in the hole that is left by Russia right now. Somehow we went from Jersey to Russia.
Yeah, magic.
Depending on how fast Lapis is going, it's maybe possible.
Also, we don't have a scale, technically, for how large Earth is in Steven Universe, We don't actually know. Just because we see a map and it looks vaguely like our world, maybe their world is just smaller.
I'm assuming that she can just fly very fast because she did fly literally from Earth to Homeworld. And it took them, a lot to get to Homeworld. That's not close by, man.
She absolutely can. It's just funnier to imagine that she didn't, and it just actually all these other scenarios. They see the galaxy warp, and Lapis kind of not freezes, but freezes for a second, because that was one of the first big traumatic things that happened to her on Earth. So she's finally starting to like Earth a little bit. She's I guess it's not so bad. And then she's like, oh shit, oh no.
The trauma.
And almost drops Steven, but doesn't. And she immediately apologizes, like, sorry, and then they land on the galaxy warp to take a minute, which kudos to Lapis to be able to land on the spot of her trauma instead of immediately turning around to fly back away and have this conversation. She is able to just stop there for a second and take it all in.
I love the anime of this next scene where she's she's doing the whole water bending bits. And then it's she's emotionally going through shit because you cannot see her eyes. Mm-hmm. The hair is blocking the eyes. The eyes are in shadow. The drama. So she does all this watery stuff. Water covers the whole of the galaxy warp, and then she shows images? Question mark?
It's when will my reflection show who I am inside?
I guess. And we see what happens. So she came to visit Earth, and then the war started, and then look who poofs her. I wonder.
Those are some very similar dreads. Is that the hair term?
Yeah.
Yeah. Presumably.
I think that's what her hair is supposed to look like. So that's what I would go with.
Yeah. For those not watching at home and who don't remember, it's Bismuth.
It's Bismuth. She's an innie. Literally, all you can see of her is her hair and her innie.
It could be another Bismuth who has the same gem placement, but it could also very well be our Bismuth that we meet later on.
I don't know if we'll see it in the, maybe we'll see it in the trivia, but I feel like it was confirmed. I don't know.
Okay.
She was just kind of caught in the middle of the war shit, and she was found by Homeworld after being poofed, and confused for a crystal gem, and then put in the mirror.
And they keep asking her, where's your base? Where's your base? And not only does she not know where the crystal gem base is, because she's not a crystal gem, she can't even answer and be I don't know, because she's a fucking mirror.
Yeah, because that's in Mirror Gem. They say this is this device, heavy air quotes, is meant to answer questions. It will show you what it knows when you ask it a question. So I'm guessing there's some thing blocking the ability for you to speak freely. You are there only to answer questions to serve this purpose. Your purpose is now to be a magic mirror, and you're not allowed to share your own thoughts. Which is why in Mirror Gem, when Steven and Lapis started hanging out while she was still in the mirror, and she was saying sentences with the things she had seen, Pearl and Garnet were freaking out like, what? It's only supposed to follow orders and answer questions. Why is it like forming its own sentences of its own free will? And that's when they started panicking to take the mirror away.
Been in there for a long time, and she was cracked. So, like, I think it just kind of the powers of it got very, very warped in general.
It's an interesting tactic, the, like, imprisonment system for Homeworld, because instead of just shattering this rebel, they're like, nah, we're going to imprison you and interrogate you, and you'll have no free will. You won't be able to do anything. You won't even be able to move. I have no mouth that I must scream,
Literally, very much. And I'm pretty sure we probably already like went over all of this when we did like Mirror and Ocean Gem, but like it's just the fact that the crystal gems didn't think to try to free her after all those years. They were just like, yeah, we're worried about ourselves. They probably were just like, oh, that's just another Homeworld gem. She'll probably try to kill us or something. Like, even bubble her. Get her out of the mirror. That's a terrible existence. Why aren't you thinking about that? They're not thinking about that because it's their society.
Yeah, they're not thinking about it because they haven't gone through their character arcs yet.
Exactly. They're still kind of stagnant after Rose is gone for a bit.
Even while Rose is there, because you see somebody dropped the mirror, somebody stepped on the mirror and cracked Lapis's gem, which presumably this is part of why she was not destroyed by the Diamond Blast, corrupted by it. But Pearl picks her up and she's in her like 80s, 90s outfit, whatever. Rose might still be around at that moment.
We don't know if Rose is there or not because it could always be like right after.
Yeah.
We don't know when Pearl reformed between like Steven's birth and such. So it could have been after Rose, it could have been before.
But again, at no point did they even consider like trying to see if the mirror, based off of Mirror Gem, it seems like at no point did Pearl even try to ask the mirror any questions. She just picked it up and said, huh, weird, and then just stuck it inside her gem and said, that's a problem for later. And then now I'm just imagining that she was doing like, semi-regular galaxy warp check to make sure everything's in order, said, huh, this is a weird mirror, let me put that away, and then went home and was about to say, hey, Rose, and then Rose was already pregnant, and she was like, oh, shit, and she forgot about the mirror for a while.
Who's to say what was going on necessarily at the time, but they leave. Steven's like, hey, your past doesn't have to control you anymore. Like, your gem may be on your back, but you don't have to be looking back.
Hey.
Damn, Charlie, that was #deep.
And hey, look, it's Steven's core character trait. He's like, everything here changes. Yeah, change happens, and change is good. And change scares me. But
Lapis is still feeling kind of trapped because at this point, she still kind of is like seeing Earth maybe as her only option because, Steven is trying to welcome her and make her feel at home here, but like, where else would she go? Like, there are other planets, of course, but like, she has no reason to seek them out other than can't go to Homeworld, can't stay on Earth. So it's kind of like the illusion of choice of just like, yeah, I could leave Earth, but to what end? Like, what would she do? Because she doesn't have a purpose now that she's not serving Homeworld, but that's something she kind of gets over a little quicker because she's kind of she definitely didn't like Homeworld as much as like some of the other gems, like even in like Jailbreak and stuff, where she's just like, no, if we just be good, then they won't punish us. And like in the message where she's like, Homeworld has changed a lot since she's been trapped for 5,750 years.
It's kind of giving the subversion of the line of the phrase, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It's like the subversion of it.
You can't go home, but you kind of have to stay here. She doesn't have to, but like, what else is there?
She has to for the plot.
Yeah, said. And of course, Steven is like, hey, I consider you a friend. I would like you to be here if you are comfortable with that, and I will try my best to make that comfortable for you. But I don't want to trap you here. Like, he's not saying you have to stay here. He's not saying you must stay here. He's not even saying I want you to stay here to like guilt her in that. He's just like, you can. You don't have to be trapped. You can be here. You can make the Earth your home. It's giving her the power to choose that, that
yeah.
Even with all the bad. And she has a leaf now. And that's enough to convince her to stay. The leaf is a core character to this episode.
Kyla, I'm so surprised that Lapis with a leaf has never been your profile picture.
I don't change my profile picture enough to think of these things.
This is true. New profile picture for Kyla should be Lapis with a leaf. Just saying.
Lapis leafily.
There we go.
And writes itself.
Just as Lapis decides, I'm gonna stay here. Here. Actually, Peridot's like, here. What's going on? Hi. Hello. This is where I live now. And Lapis is like, no, this is where I live now. At the barn. Here. Because they got back to the barn.
Steven, tell her. And then Steven just sort of like, and then the episode ends with like Steven in distress. Is there an iris? I kind of forget if there's an iris. Or does it just cut the black? There's an iris. The iris.
There's an iris closing in on Steven, and he's doing the little shrug like, oh boy.
Oh boy, look at me in my 90s sitcom scenario.
I do want to bounce back a little bit. Lapis has that thing, holding the leaf, of course, and realizing, for all this time I've been on Earth, I actually didn't see that much of it. Like, she saw the bottom of the ocean, she saw Beach City, she saw the galaxy warp, and now she's seen Jersey. And that's it. And that's not like a lot of great things to see, And it's interesting parallel because she's like, for being here so long, I didn't see all that much of it. So maybe I do want to stay and see more of it. Versus we have, of course, in the answer, when, Sapphire's making the comment about like, what an interesting planet, what a cool planet to make a colony on, wish I could see more of it. And Ruby's like, there's still time. Haha, no, there isn't. Now a new gem is coming to Earth and saying, hey, maybe there is stuff to see around here. They're all finding the beauty of Earth on their own terms, on their own time, and saying, hey, let's check this out for a while. Anyway, Lapis did not sign up to have a roommate. There's a reason why she didn't bring you back to Empire City, Steven. She didn't want a roommate.
This was not on the sublet. This was not on the lease agreement. Like, what the fuck's going on?
Uh-oh.
But that's a problem for a later episode.
Open up that SpaghettiOs can next time. But this time, we're going to go to the Crystal Temple.
For some Crystal Temple trivia. This episode's name was first revealed in the episode listing on the Cartoon Network website.
The SUMY brand and Dogcopter can be seen on billboards in Empire City.
At one scene, there appears to be a billboard that has the word, this is a word, Himitsu on it, and above the word there's a picture of a car. Himitsu means secret in Japan, and the billboard is most likely to be a theatrical poster of the 1970s spy film that is to be premiered in Empire City.
When the homeworld gems are fleeing Earth, there's a bright flash of multicolored light in the sky. The theme of the diamonds plays during its emission. The light is composed of blue, white, and yellow rays, referencing the diamonds of the same colors. It is later revealed in Monster Reunion that this light is the weapon used by the diamonds that corrupted most of the remaining gems on Earth.
The flashback displays many familiar-looking gems. It is unknown whether these gems are actually the same as the show's characters or different cuts of similar gems. There was a gem that has the same hair as Peridot. There are several quartz gems fighting in the war sharing the same color, gem placement, hair, and helmet as Jasper. The gem who poofs Lapis, who resembles the crystal Bismuth, later confirmed to be Bismuth by Rebecca Sugar at San Diego Comic-Con 2019.
There we go. It was her.
Okay, cool. It was confirmed. That's gotta be awkward. But, there's a lot of awkward reunions that happen when Steven is involved. When it was brought to the attention of Lamar Abrams that Lapis and Peridot's hair was too big in this episode, he answered saying that it would be fixed in the next episode, as well as sketches of both of them with bigger hair. That sentence is written weird. But yes, I did want to mention the funny of how, storyboarding process is very fun, and sometimes you make characters' hair, bigger by accident, and then the animators just go with it. And it's very funny to me personally, because I did do a videoing project in high school at one point. It was a group project, and one of the tasks for the assignment was to storyboard out the little, you had to film a fake commercial. So you had to make a storyboard. And, it was all, I think it was 4 of us. We were all girls. We all looked pretty similar, so we were like, how are we going to designate who is who in each of these storyboards? So we gave each of us different hairstyles in the storyboards, and the joke kept being that as we were drawing the storyboards, my stick figure had a ponytail, and the ponytail kept getting bigger and bigger with each storyboard, and so we started leaning into it. So it's just very funny to me personally that the same thing happened to Lapis here, that just the hair just kept getting bigger and bigger relative to her head.
For our cultural references, this episode's title may be a reference to the line from William Shakespeare's The Tempest, "Oh, brave new world that has such people in it." It is also very likely a reference to A Whole New World song from the 1992 Disney movie Aladdin, where Aladdin and Jasmine fly around on a magic carpet, seeing various sights, as Steven and Lapis do.
Before taking off, Steven says, "Ready, Freddy?" Well, while this is an existing phrase, it was popularized by the line in the Queen song, "Crazy Little Thing Called Love," which in turn is a reference to band member Freddie Mercury. I also need to call this one just because I live here. Jersey's a reference to New Jersey, United States. The New Jersey Turnpike is featured in that area.
I do want to just circle back to the Ready Freddy line, and of course, in Ocean Gem, Steven says no prob, Bob, and both times Lapis, of course, isn't familiar with these phrases, and she has to go with, my name is Lapis. Like, she's like, Steven, how do you keep, like, forgetting my name sometimes and remembering it other times? Like, I'm a Lapis Gem. Like, come on. Empire City seems to be a combination of both Las Vegas and New York, as the expression Steven says, what happens in Empire City never sleeps, is a combination of two expressions of the former cities. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and New York City, the city that never sleeps. According to Ian Jones-Cordy, it was also equal parts Paris. An Eiffel Tower-like building is also seen there.
Didn't even notice that. In Empire City, a billboard reading Dogcopter, turn off the bark, can briefly be seen. This is a reference to the musical Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark.
I forgot this was the thing that was, at this point, I think it was fucking dead. Like, the Spider-Man musical was shot by this point. It was done. But still, it's just so funny to remember that. My favorite, I think it's the Tonys. I'm going to say it's the Tonys. My favorite Tonys, like, opening show bit or whatever is Neil Patrick Harris opening the Tonys with a beautifully, like, coordinated theatrical, like, song with pretty much everyone who was on Broadway at the time also doing coordinated, like, dance and stuff in the background. And apparently it was so last minute, they only had, like, a half hour to practice with each section what they were going to do. There was so many things that the Neil Patrick Harris could only do once, and if he failed, that would be the end of it, but he managed to get through it in his go. I think it's the 2013 Tonys, and I know that because Spider-Man is featured as one of the people from Broadway.
When Lapis and Steven are overlooking Empire City, Steven tells Lapis that she can get a cool apartment, be a single gem taking on the big city, and have a fun job at a local coffee shop, and come home to a wacky roommate. This is a reference to the 1994 to 2004 television sitcom Friends.
Vindication!
There we go.
Is there a cafe in Friends?
Yeah, that's like the main place
I know
they
they
hang
go
out.
to one, but like, I know they go to one sometimes, but does anybody work there? I have not seen a lot of Friends.
I do not know, and also they pretty much go there every episode. It is there for all us who are a little younger than the intended crowd for Friends, who may have caught How I Met Your Mother as it was coming out. Central Perk is the equivalent to McLaren.
I haven't seen a lot of things besides Steven Universe in my life.
I did not watch a lot of adult sitcoms. I still don't.
I would say, hey, let's do a How I Met Your Mother podcast where I've seen everything and you guys haven't. But Josh Radnor, who plays the main lead, is already doing that because we're in that era of like, hey, remember that show from 10, 20 years ago? Yeah, we're going to make a podcast about it now.
Who does
It
that?
happens now. I wonder why.
Yeah.
No idea.
And I don't mean fans like me and Charlie. I mean like people who worked on the show, making a podcast about their show. Office Ladies, Bending the Elements, this new How I Met Your Mother one. There's the Ned's Classified podcast, which is a fucking shit show.
Yeah. It's a time, I'm sure people who are super fans of these individual series appreciate having the actors' perspectives on these things,
Lapis flying Steven above the clouds may possibly be a reference to the scene in the film How to Train Your Dragon, where the dragon Toothless flies Astrid and Hiccup above the clouds. This reference to Toothless is further supported by the moments where Steven hangs onto Lapis's arms, which is a way Toothless transports Astrid during the movie. Steven saying, "Hey bud, I'm slipping here," to Lapis may possibly be a reference to Hiccup's and Toothless's relationship in the movie, as Hiccup refers to Toothless as Bud, as in buddy, and phrases request to his dragon in a similar manner.
And now for Charlie's favorite section.
Continuity?
Peridot retells the events that happened during the previous episode.
Peridot decides to stay in the barn to restore the hole she made in Message Received.
When Steven asks Lapis, "Ready, Freddy?" she corrects him by saying that her name is Lapis, similar to how she corrected Steven in Ocean Gem when he said, "No prob, Bob."
Empire City, first mentioned in the story for Steven, is shown.
A poster in Empire City shows an ad for the new Dogcopter movie.
An advertisement for Pepe's Burgers can be seen on a billboard in Empire City.
Lapis and Steven make the fart noise from Mirror Gem.
When Lapis is projecting her memories, her eyes appear to change back to the mirror design first seen in Mirror Gem.
The episode visualizes Pearl finding the mirror containing Lapis at the Galaxy Warp, an event first mentioned in Mirror Gem. When she finds the mirror, Pearl has the same outfit she had in store for Steven. We Need to Talk and Greg, the babysitter.
The silhouetted animation style from The Answer returns during Lapis's flashback.
Steven has his hot dog duffel bag that he unboxed in the short Unboxing.
Steven sleeps in the same caterpillar sleeping bag first seen in Space Race.
Near the end of the episode, a sign saying, "Ooh, space travel," can be seen on the barn. This is the same sign that first appeared in Space Race, and it is also written on the chalkboard in Back to the Barn.
The gem who poofs Lapis is confirmed to be Bismuth, who would later go on to appear in an episode of the same name.
Now, friends, who are we giving our Pearl Point to?
The Leaf, obviously.
I'm going to give it to the most littlest of guys. I'm giving my point to New Jersey.
But New Jersey doesn't show up in the episode. Jersey.
I'm giving it to Jersey then.
This podcast is all about accuracy and perfection, obviously.
It is about one of those things sometimes.
I want to give it to the little caterpillar sleeping bag. I feel like I've done this before. I don't know if it's happened, but it needs to be given.
Woo! And then we give our question out. Our question, I presume it would be, what is the most amount of locations you've been to in, like, let's say a day?
I mean, maybe you could make the question about, like, have you ever had to move to find a new home or something? You know, that's a... Because I feel like locations is, like, really vague, and because it's like, oh, I did a bunch of errands at a bunch of stores that were all, like, right next to each other in the mall versus, traveling from Jersey to Siberia and back to Delmarva.
Have you ever moved states?
I have. I moved from New York to New Jersey, which, if you look at a map, is essentially taking a nice little jaunt across the river.
Mm-hmm.
And I only moved, 15 hours away from Mass to Illinois.
I have not ever moved states. I was born in Mass. I live in Mass. I'm gonna probably die in Mass.
Have you always been in the same households?
I moved from different houses in Mass to other houses in Mass. Massachusetts represent. I have Dunkin' iced coffee running through my veins.
Kyla, you don't want people to find you, right?
Kyla just exists within this podcast, and
when the podcast ends, she will die.
Yes.
I'm
don't turn it off, or else you will kill her.
I'm trapped in this mirror dimension where I can only see talk about things that I've seen.
Well, unfortunately for Kyla, if every podcast were perfect,
you wouldn't have the bits.
And now the podcast ends. Rip Kyla. You can follow this podcast socials at thebitssupod on Instagram and Tumblr. You can send a message to our dime line through thebitssupod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support us financially, join us at patreon.com/thebitsu. By becoming a patron, you can join the Deus Ex Media Discord server, where you'll be able to chat with us and other listeners about Steven Universe, or whatever else. Our $5 patron tier also gets you access to Steven's Room, our monthly bonus show. There, we'll talk about a wide variety of topics, which usually have something to do with Steven in some way. No promises.
You can check out our merch store, The Bits SU, on Redbubble to find custom designs made by Charlie, me. Or if you cannot do that or do not want to support us financially, we'd really appreciate a rating, a review, or letting your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. It really helps. Our music was written and produced by Jason Hilton. You can find him at Negative Selections on Instagram. You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms. I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws. You can also hear my voice on 2 other podcasts. I co-host another podcast on the network with Ray called Of the Eldest Gods, where we talk about the mythology book series by Rick Riordan, starting with Percy Jackson. I also co-host a podcast with my buddy Ethan called Mysteries in the Machine, where we talk about all things Scooby-Doo.
You can find me, Robert, at the Damn Meme page on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. If you want to hear more from me, check out my YouTube channel, also called the Damn Meme page, where I make videos mainly about Percy Jackson, but also sometimes other fun stuff. If you want to find me elsewhere in the podcast verse, you can also tune into my podcast, The Pit Crew, a show dedicated to dissecting the HBO Max medical drama, The Pit. The Bits is proud to be part of Deus Ex Media, which features great podcasts like Super Scary, a love letter to superheroes, sci-fi, and horror movies hosted by Josh.
Do you love to be super scared? Do you enjoy listening to hilarious hot takes on timeless classics? Well, fear not, listeners. I'm here. Welcome to the Super Scary Podcast, where we cover everything from the supernatural to the superpowered. I'm your host, Josh, a scaredy cat nerd who enjoys superhero, sci-fi, and horror movies way too much. Whether I'm processing my trauma from Texas Chainsaw Massacre or reminiscing on the nostalgia of Hocus Pocus, my guests and I have a hilarious time going through our favorite and sometimes not so favorite moments. I'm your friend till the end, listeners, because everyone's entitled to one super scary podcast. We post weekly episodes on Mondays, and you can find us at Super Scary Podcast on all the socials. See you in the afterlife, listeners.
Dave X Media.